Man fatally shot in Norwood related to murdered Westmoreland businesswoman. The man killed allegedly in a shootout with police personnel on Wednesday in Norwood, St. James, is said to be related to a woman killed in Westmoreland last week Thursday. The man, identified as 23-year-old Stephen Hilton, otherwise called Diddy, was shot and killed during a confrontation with security personnel about 12:30 p.m. A firearm was recovered after the shooting subsided. Since then, a senior police officer familiar with the situation made the revelation, asking that his name be withheld. He is the brother of the woman that was killed in Westmoreland, Selena Hilton, he stated. The female sibling, who was 32, was killed on March 14 by unknown assailants. According to the police, the incident happened about 3:45 p.m. at a business place operated by Hilton in New Roads, Darlington. Since then, the police have come out and said that the sister was involved in gang activities and was out on bail in relation to a murder charge in the parish of St. James. As part of her conditions of bail, she was ordered to stay outside of the parish of St. James. Family of crash victim with severe burns desperate for a relative to get help. The family of one of the men who suffered severe burns in a fiery crash on the PJ Patterson Highway on Monday is desperate to save their relative's life. The police said the driver swerved to avoid a collision, resulting in him losing control and crashing into an iron railing before the car burst into flames. The driver exited the vehicle and noticed 3 passengers on fire. Jason Miller, the 25-year-old father to a 11-month-old baby, is in the Kingston Public Hospital battling to stay alive, with his chances of survival looking slim. The family of Miller say they are being told that the most of the hospitals can do is to keep him stabilized. His cousin Sharon Robinson said he has been refused by the most advanced public hospitals, all saying his injuries are far too gone. At the moment, what is happening at KPH is that they are saying they cannot do anything for him here, and Dewey Hospital has refused him. They're saying his burns are in excess of 85%, so it's far gone, she bemoaned. She said the family has been desperately seeking the international medical care, but after reaching out to Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami, Florida, they were given a similar prognosis. Ms. Robinson, who was on the brink of tears, issued a public call for assistance. We are trying to find assistance from someone, anybody who has been through this before. We use somebody, we use probably a hospital where a burn victim or so went before. We can call and look on case and get it we take, she pleaded. Minimum wage to increase to $15,000 per week as of June 1. The national minimum wage is to be increased to $15,000 per week from $13,000 effective June 1, 2024. The announcement was made on Thursday by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. I'm pleased to announce a further increase to the minimum wage per 40-hour work, Holness said, to sustain applause from the government benches. He noted that this represented an increase of 15%. At the same time, the Prime Minister announced that the minimum wage for industrial security guards will move from $14,000 per week to $15,000 as of June 1. When the last increase was granted, the government had indicated that that would be the last occasion when there was a difference in the national minimum wage and the pay to industrial security guards. The Prime Minister said the government thought carefully about the increase and thought it was necessary to keep our working class and our poorest abreast with inflation. He said that during campaigning for the February 26 local government election, it was made clear that many of our workers poor were having it really difficult. Work to replace Troy Bridge expected to begin in the upcoming fiscal year. Work to replace the Troy Bridge at the border of Trelawney and Manchester is expected to begin in the upcoming fiscal year. Prime Minister Andrew Holness said a contract for the project has been awarded. He gave the update while making his budget debate contribution in Parliament. The Troy Bridge, which served communities between Trelawney and Manchester, collapsed in 2021 during Tropical Storm Grace. Following the incident, residents, especially students of the Troy High School and primary schools, have been using a makeshift bridge to cross the river. Member of Parliament for North West Manchester, Michael Phillips, has been lobbying for the bridge to be replaced.
The tortuous and lengthy process to repair the Troy Bridge makes the case for the urgent need for review and reform. The bridge collapsed in August 2021 during the passage of Tropical Storm Grace. The bridge, which was built in 1869, served residents of Trelawney, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth, including students of the nearby Troy High and Troy Primary School. The bridge represents critical infrastructure for the residents, and there is unanimity that the bridge must be replaced. Under the current public investment management guidelines, however, the project is required to go through a full public investment appraisal process. This is even before we get to procurement. This has resulted in significant delays in implementations. However, today, I can finally announce that a contract has been awarded and work will begin early in this first quarter of the coming financial year.
Government pledges to implement measures that will ensure that no waste is discharged into the Royal Cobre. The government has pledged to implement measures that will ensure that no waste is discharged in the Royal Cobre in St. Catherine. Prime Minister Andrew Holness noted that at present, some entities have permits to allow discharge of waste. However, with the constant problem of pollution and fish kill in the Royal Cobre, which adversely impact the livelihood of fishers and other residents, Mr. Holness said a solution must be found. Speaking in Parliament as he made his contribution to the budget debate, the Prime Minister said the National Environment and Planning Agency (NEPA) has been instructed to develop a policy that will ban the discharge of effluents.
I've given instructions to NEPA to start developing a policy, that would see the banning of any waste or effluent being discharged into the Rio Cobre. No, so there are some factories and operations which do have authority, permit and permission to discharge. What we're looking for is to prevent any discharge into the Rio Cobre. And it's not something that you could do overnight, because along the banks of the Rio Cobre are many establishments which have been there for years and which have predated many of our legislation. So the process of consultation has started. It is imperative that this be done, Mr. Speaker, because, as I will say later in my presentation, we have put in place a new water treatment facility, and therefore we must protect that body of water.
My wife is a self-made woman, says Holness. Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Thursday described his wife, House Speaker Juliet Holness, as an independent and self-made woman, a seemingly indirect address to the criticism of Mrs. Holness that led to the walkout of House of Representatives by government members of Parliament on Tuesday. He gave the shout-out to his wife during his opening remarks to his contribution to the 2024-2025 budget debate, during which he also welcomed his mother, who was present in the galley. I want to thank my family for their love and support, particularly Juliet, an independent woman, a self-made woman who has achieved all that she has in her own right, Holness stated. On Tuesday, during his contribution to the budget debate, opposition leader Mark Golding earned the ear of government MPs after he criticized the appointment of the Speaker, who is the member of the Parliament for St. Andrew East Rural, as bad practice. Stated Golding, the head of Parliament, Juliet Holness, is now spouse of the head of government. This really does not sit well with the tradition that the Speaker must act independently of the government of the day. The Speaker is intended to be independent and must act independent of the government of the day. That is the tradition, he insisted, while he was making shouted down by government MPs who took offense to his remarks and walked out of the chamber en masse, led by the Prime Minister. Government to establish trust fund for poor children born on or after August 6, 2022, stated Holness. In a bid to reduce the cycle of generational poverty, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced to Jamaica 60 Hope, Opportunity, Prosperity and Empowerment for Children Trust Fund. The purpose of the fund is to help close the wealth gap and address the issue of intergenerational poverty by creating a trust account specifically catered to vulnerable children, Holness said Thursday, while making his contribution to the 2024-2025 budget debate at Garden House. He explained that the Hope for Children Trust Fund will provide each eligible child with a long-term saving account funded through annual contributions from the government. Parents, guardians, or other donors will also be able to make deposits into the account for the future benefit of the child. The accumulated fund, including interest, will be accessible and/or after the child's 18th birthday for specific purposes such as education, purchase of a home, or commercial property or business investment, Holness stated. Any Jamaican child born on or after the 60th anniversary of our independence, August 6, 2022, who is part on the part household or a ward of the state will be eligible for the program, he added. Beyond unemployment insurance, we must also invest in programs that create opportunities for individuals and families to escape the cycle of generational poverty. This requires a multifaceted approach that tackles the root cause of poverty and systematic barriers to economic mobility. Thousands of our children in low-income families reach adulthood without any household saving to give them a start in life. This perpetuates a cycle of poverty. We have to break this cycle, Holness remarked. The Prime Minister explained that the central idea behind the program is to provide children with a lump sum to give them a start in life upon attaining adulthood. We will also explore alternatives to establish and manage this program. It could be part of the National Insurance Fund, or we may consider having private insurance companies administered to the trust fund, stated Holness. He said, my administration does not just talk about poverty. We have undertaken the most significant expansion of the social security system in Jamaica since independence. We are committed to addressing the underlying structural inequalities that perpetuate poverty and limit upward mobility for marginalized communities, and to doing so in a deliberate, sustainable way. This means dismantling barriers to education, healthcare, employment, and housing, also ensuring access to the opportunities for all Jamaicans, regardless of their background or circumstances. The Prime Minister added that as a result of the dividends from our macroeconomic success, it is now within our powers to enact meaningful change and provide a brighter future for all Jamaicans. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.